Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is all about army surplus, and if you're a beginner at bushcraft, and how army surplus can get you on your journey and help you on your way. So there's 10 things that I'm going to show you from British Army Surplus that you can get in a surplus shop near you or online. Okay, I will be leaving links to everything that I show you down below on the video, yeah, cool. Hope you enjoy it and find it useful. Let's get into it. Okay then guys, the first thing that you're going to need then to carry all your kit for bushcraft if you're starting out, alright, is a Bergen or rucksack or some sort of carrying system. Okay, this is a British Army MTP version, alright, that's the colour of it, alright, multi-terrain pattern. Okay, this is 120 litres Bergen, alright, okay, or rucksack. Alright, so you've got two side pouches here on each side. Okay, both of those are 10 litres. Then you've got the main compartment, alright, which is 100 litres. Okay, and that is a vast amount of kit, right, that you can carry in these things. Alright, now when you buy this, okay, you might not have the side pouches with it, they might be sold separately. Okay, but this is a general standard issue Bergen, how it's set up. Alright, this is how we get it issued. Okay, but just bearing in mind, alright, you might have to buy these separately. Okay, cool. So looking at the Bergen itself then, starting at the top, we've got a massive top zip, okay, in there, alright, and that takes pretty much the whole surface area, okay, of the top of the bag, alright, okay, that's a massive zip, okay. Alright, moving down then, and you'll see that you've got a front pouch here, okay, which has got a Velcro closure, but also we put a zip on it as well, right in here. Okay, that's big enough to hold a water bottle, okay, an Osprey issue water bottle in there, okay. But normally what I do, I put my rubbish in there normally, okay. Right, cool. So that's the outside. Open it up then. In fact, sorry, I'll move around to the back, okay. Alright, you can see there's two main straps here. Alright, these are really thick, really thickly padded straps. Alright, bearing in mind you are going to be carrying potentially 120 litres of kit. Alright, so, and you've got a nice big grab handle here as well. Okay, so you'll notice there's an identification panel there. Alright, okay, that's what soldiers put there, how they ID their bags. Alright, okay, because obviously if you've got like 40 blokes and there's 40 of these, how are you going to know which one are yours? Alright, that's what that's for. Okay, so if you see that when you buy yours, that's what the previous owner put his name on, or her name on. Okay, and it does come with a belt normally. Alright, but I've cut mine off purely because it gets in the way. Alright, because normally when I'm wearing this, I've got my belt kit on anyway, and it just gets in the way and it's a bit of a faff. Alright, but that's where the belt would go across here. Alright, and they'll have a nice strong buckle at the front. Alright, but I've removed that. Okay, so also you can add your own belt right through these loops here, okay, all right, like it with a more padding on, all right, if you wish to do so, all right, there is that option, all right, really good idea that is, okay, but for now I've cut mine off, all right, removed it because it just got in the way. Okay, so big straps, massive grab handle, really good. So that's the back of the bag. Go around to the front then. Okay, you've got two main buckles, simple, really robust. Unclip that, and you go into the main bag itself. Okay, but start with the top lid then. On the inside of the top lid, you've got another robust zip. Okay, which again is massive. All right, when I'm using this, okay, I normally put my Dobie in there, my laundry, or my dirty washing. Okay, that's normally where that goes. All right, but I mean that's massive in there. Okay, right. So keeping on with the top lid then, what you might need to look at and how to identify your kit, okay, is when you buy this, to make sure it's a genuine article, all right, you'll have some sort of label on the inside lid. Okay, this one says rucksack and frame infantry, okay, and there's a long back. All right, so I'm 6'1", and I'd recommend that anyone above 5.5 foot, okay, we get a long back Bergen. All right, okay, that's the length for your torso. Okay, but if you're around 5 foot, anything below 5.5 foot, okay, in height, then you can have a short back version, exactly the same specs, all right, just a shorter back, all right, so it fits you better. Okay, something to look at there. All right, and also you'll see what they call an NSN, right, and then a long number. All right, okay, so what that is, that's a stock number. So it means NSN is NATO stock number, literally that. All right, it's a block, a barcode for that bag. All right, now something interesting about this, okay, is don't worry about the first 4 letters, all right, but worry about the second, the next 2 letters on there. Okay, so that says 99 on there. All right, now 99 is the country code, all right, where this bag was made, and it's a UK, right? So 99 on any kit that you want to buy, surplus-wise, 99, all right, is the code for UK. So you know that this is a genuine issue UK bit of kit, all right? A little bit of information there, okay? And then moving on then to the actual bag itself, the main compartment. So you've got an outer pull cord here, okay, which goes around the rim of the bag itself. All right, then you've got a massive draw cord, okay, with a waterproof cover, okay. That all comes undone, going into the main compartment, like so. Let's tilt the camera down so you can see what I'm looking at. Okay, so this is the bag itself then. It's massive in there, and this, you can literally pretty much, okay, stack your kit up and then pull that, cinch that around, okay, and if you have enough kit, you can cinch it around and then roll that over and then put your top flap over, and that's you, okay. That's how much extra space that you've got, all right, which will probably make the 100 litres for the main compartment. But this is a waterproof surround, okay, that you cinch it down simply with the buckle, like so, roll it over the top, keep any loose straps away. Then you've got another one here that you can cinch around the rim, like that, pull that right in, cinching it right in, tucking it away, closing it over. 2 big buckles, and that is it. That is you, simple to go, okay. 2 buckles, 2 pull cords, easy. All right, these are brilliant. I've had this for, wow, best part of 10 years, okay. All right, and it's been all over the world with me, okay. We can't rate it enough. It's really thick Kajura material, all right. And the good thing about it is you don't have to have these pouches on. They do unzip, okay, so they can come off entirely, okay. So all you have to do, unzip them there, undo the buckles, and they all come off. It's all detachable, so you can do that both sides, and you just have the smaller bag, okay, the 100 litres. All right, so you're not committed to like 120 if you don't need it. All right. Now, what I will say, okay, with these, okay, when you've got all your clothes in here, all right, that makes a perfect pillow. Put your shemag around that, okay. I'll show you the shemag later. All right, put the shemag around that, and that's a perfect pillow. All right. So yeah, I've done that in the past quite a lot. Right, a good bit of kit. So yeah, simple attachment then with these. All right, they've got zips on both sides, okay, and these also fit the Carrymore SF 45 litre bag, the Sabre version, okay. So these will zip on that as well. All right, so it's all multi-changing. If you want a smaller, like a day bag, okay. In my day, it would be a patrol bag. All right, that's what I used to take these off the main Bergen, put them on my patrol bag. All right, so that's the side pouches. That's the Bergen. Cool. Hope you found that interesting. Let's move on, which is now the poncho. Okay, then, folks. Moving on then to the poncho or the basher. Okay, I've got mine in MTP. You can get these in DPM, the old disruptive pattern material. Okay, the woodland colour. All right. So these things are brilliant. Okay, they've just been improved. The more issues you've got. Okay, so the specs then. All right, it is 2.5 by 2.1 meters in length. Okay, either side. All right, so, and you can see what I've got here. All right, I don't use bungees, I use jungle knots, okay, or jungle lines, okay. I don't use bungees anymore, purely for the fact that they're heavier. All right, and I like keeping these attached, okay. So when I get out of my bag, I can bang straight away, put my bash up, no dramas, okay, in the trees, okay, or basher poles as well if there's no trees. All right, so this is a waterproof shelter. All right, this is big enough to get 2 of you underneath it. All right, if you use the right configuration. I normally put it into like an A-frame configuration. All right, between 2 trees, dead simple. All right, tie these off against the trees, tie it out, peg it out, and you're up and done. All right. Now, where I store it, okay, in my Bergen. Okay, I'll tilt the camera down again so you can see. I use it. Okay, I literally put it in my top flap. Right, if these side pouches are being used, okay, for ops kit or anything like that or clothing, all right, I straight away undo this and just stuff it in. No bag, no poncho bag, or like that. Because the reason being is because when you're wet and cold, all right, you got to take this down, or you get under contact, you need to bug out. Okay, or you just want to get the shift on and get out your, get out your situation, all right, that you're in. Okay, just stuff this straight in. No dramas. Wrap it as, get in, pull your lines in, job done. Okay, not forgetting your tent pegs. Now I carry about 8 tent pegs. All right, that's enough for me. All right, put those in there, stuff them in. Fill up the zip and you're good to go. That's that shelter put away, because probably it'll be wet as well. All right, so you don't want it anywhere on your internal part of your bag. All right, okay, top flap, that way it's good to go again. Literally get your pegs out, take them out, bang, got it out your bag. You can then shake it out into the formation that you want. Job done. Okay, remember to do your zip up. There we go. Cool. That's your poncho. Right then, folks. Okay, so moving on then to the next number 3 on the kit list. Okay, so number 3 is the good old roll mat, all right, or sleeping pad. Okay, this one is a genuine issue. All right, you can see there with the NSN number. All right, with the country code 99. All right, okay, that's so you know it's British. All right, and also, okay, another fascinating fact, all right, is you'll see something like this sometimes, all right, on kit, okay, that's been, or it's British issue, okay, and that's called an arrowhead, all right, or commonly known now as a crow's foot, all right, and that's an old way of the MOD marking British kit, okay. Normally it was on silverware, all right, a little bit of a story now. All right, normally it's on silverware, okay, like in the mess with your knife, fork and spoon, all right, because soldiers had a habit of, and probably still do, not saying anything, that they used to borrow the spoons purely for a racing spoon. So the powers that be decided that an NSN is too long to put on the back of a spoon, or on the knives and forks as well. Okay, so they decided to put this like arrowhead, or crow's foot, as it's commonly known as. So yeah, so that is another way of identifying British kit. Okay, if it's got a crow's foot on it. All right. So yeah, and yeah, further to the story then. If the soldier got caught with said spoon with crow's foot on in his pocket, he would have been reprimanded by the system for stealing. So yeah. Cool, but that's where that comes from. All right, but it's another good way of identifying the kit. Okay, so moving back to the roll mat then. This is a foam mat. Okay, it's about I'll say about 2 meters actually. 2 meters in length. Okay, because I'm 185 centimeters tall. Okay, and I've still got a good ½ meter at the end of my feet. All right, on these things. Okay, they're nice and thick, as you can see. All right, and they're held together by 2 pieces of string, well cord here, okay, with brass eyelets as well. All right, so there's no like it won't like wear away too much. Okay, so these things are, I don't know. I've used this a lot in woodlands, on rocks, on stony ground. Really, really good. Okay, and obviously you got the sleep system that goes on top of this. All right. But yeah, it's enough to keep the draft away. Cheap as chips. I think these are about, most have seen it for about £8. All right, 8 UK pounds. All right. But yeah, really good bit of kit. Okay, where are you going to put it then? All right, when you're going to be using it. All right, when you're carrying it. Alright, I'm going to move the camera down again so we can see. Back to the old Bergen. Swing this in. Okay, so you got your Bergen and that's full. Bearing in mind all that's in there at the moment is a sleeping system. Okay, so this will be proper bulging. Alright, so the way you do it then, undo your front buckles, lay it on the top and you literally top flap it. Alright, that good old saying the military like to use. Top flap it, put it through, and then when you're obviously with your side pouches full as well, that's how you hold it. That's how I carry it, okay? Like so. Boom, dead easy. Nice and simple. So you can see a system arriving here. Okay, so I've got my basher in the top there. That's up. Okay, then I'll undo these, get my roll mat down, so you can see camp setup happening here already. Okay, you can see the system with the shelter up, that out next. Okay, then I can get my DOS bag out, my sleeping system. Okay, and then that's camp pretty much set up. All right, cool. That's the roll mat. Okay then folks, moving on then to the sleep system or DOS bag. Okay, this is a standard British Army issue summer bag. Okay, it's part of a modular system. Alright, it's got a zip pretty much all the way down the side here. Okay, and that goes all the way down, right? So it's dead easy, and you can actually open it out fully. Okay, so you can make it like a quilt if you really want to. Right, you can just drape that over yourself. All right, if it's too warm. All right, I've got it out now because I've been using it in the summer. Okay, and then really good robust zips. Goes all the way down. Okay, and then there's a nice little fastener at the top there as well. Okay, to stop the zip from moving. All right, and then what you can see is in here, because this is the summer version. All right, you'll see some press studs. Alright, and behind these press studs, it's quite a good invention. It's got its own built-in mozzie net. Alright, so if it's warm at night, okay, you can pretty much zip that around you. Like so, keeping the critters away from you. Right, it's easier to do it when you're actually inside it. Okay, but you'll get the general idea. Like so. Okay, so that's got a nice piece of netting, alright, around you. Alright, and that goes into the hood. Okay, so you can basically leave the hood open, alright, without it. You have to hunker down in it to start getting bitten. All right, you can sleep with that on, okay, over your face. All right, really good design. Okay, this goes down to about 9 degrees. Okay, the base weight of the temperature. All right, it's super lightweight. It's not super light. It's not ultralight. I believe in the saying that ultralight freeze at night. Okay, I refuse to spend like £600 on a sleeping bag just because it's like half a kilo or something mental like that. All right, so I prefer robust kit, right, that I know that works. All right, it's going to keep you warm. All right, even in the warmest of nights. Okay, yeah, cool. So that is the sleeping bag. So again, to the label. All right, what you're looking for, okay, is the label like so. And it's summer weight. It's a modular system, so this goes inside another sleeping bag, all right, which will make up the winter set, okay, the winter system, and that goes down to -25 degrees. Okay, so that's Norway. That's Norway level. All right, so you can see that, but if you can just see there where my finger is, that's the good old crow's foot. All right, so you know it's genuine issue kit. All right, and you should have a NSN there, yeah, so under sleeping bag lightweight, okay, you got the NSN there as well with 99, okay. I can't stress this enough, folks, all right, because like you need to buy genuine kit, all right. There's lots of rip-offs and copies out there, all right, that say that they're British military and they're not, all right, and they fail on you, okay. So I'd rather you spend, hard-earned money on the proper kit, all right, that we get issued. Okay, so that's the lightweight sleeping bag, all right, really good bit of kit. Cool. Right then folks, moving on then, to still part of the sleep system, okay, is the British Army bivvy bag. Right, this is the MTP version. Alright, these things are brilliant, okay, they weigh about 790 grams or something like that, okay, so they're not like lightweight or anything, well, ultra lightweight, okay, but I never leave home without one of these on my sleeping bags, okay. I could be out wild camping, I could be doing bushcraft. If I'm taking a sleeping bag with me, I always have a bivvy bag over the top, alright, because I just don't trust British weather. And also, paired with the summer sleeping bag I've just shown you, it adds about, I don't know, another, you could probably take that down to about 7, maybe 6 degrees, okay, so it's another lining, alright, okay, that boosts up the sleeping bag that you've got, no matter what it is, okay, alright, so, yeah, really good bit of kit, okay, so again, it's got an identification mark on it, in the form of a white label, okay, it is here somewhere, here we go, so, when you're buying one then, alright, this is what you're looking for. Okay, it's it should be bag cover. Bag cover there. It's got the good crow's foot on it as well. All right, with the NSN. Cool. So you know it's genuine kit. Really robust. I can't. Yeah, big it up enough. Really. I really love this bit of kit. It's kept me dry in some horrendous weather, where you do think, like, my God, is it going to leak? But never leaked. Okay, so. Yeah, and you've got like a cinch cord here as well, okay, so when it is hiking it down, you can just literally cinch it up, okay, nice and tight around you, alright, there we go, like so, alright, and that'll keep you nice and snug as a bug, alright, okay, so if that's your thing, I like to keep it loose if I'm honest, I don't really cinch it, okay, because I know I get quite claustrophobic, but yeah, and this will cover the bag, alright, no problem. Alright, so, sleeping bag then, top tip, okay, is always obviously going bottom first, but do it as if you're lying in it, alright, and when you put it on, when you put the sleeping bag inside the bivvy bag, okay, do it so the front bit, okay, is uppermost, alright, so, and then you line it up with the bivvy bag, because there's nothing worse than getting it out of your bag, okay, out your Bergen, okay, and it's all back to front, alright, okay, we're trying to save time here folks, so you get so a good indicator is this cord here, alright, that's the front of the bag, okay, so when you line it up, you put the bottom in first of the sleeping bag, so these two tags at the bottom of the sleeping bag indicate the bottom of the sleeping bag, alright, okay, these two here, so you grab it in the middle, like so, find the centre piece of your bivvy bag, okay, by the cord, and then just stuff it in, all the way, pulling it on, alright, so then you get your hands down the bottom there now, okay, inside, then you just basically throw that down, and that's your sleeping bag covered the right way around, okay, alright, so, what's next then? You're going to go back to the good old Bergen. I'm going to move the camera down so you can see this. Alright, I do not use compression sacks, alright, for my sleeping bag, okay, or my bivvy bag, alright, inside the Bergen, purely for the fact that without the compression sack, I can stuff this in all the nooks and crannies in the very bottom of the Bergen, therefore making the maximum use of all the space, alright. Okay, so literally stuffing this in, and now you notice as well, because this is like a big balloon, right? If you put it in the other way, it's just going to get full of air, okay, and it's going to be really hard to stuff in, alright? So the opening is always at the top, alright? Stuffing it in. Make sure it's covered over. Filling out all that crevice, all the crevices inside, okay? Stuffing it in, make sure all the air's out. Boom. And that's you good to go. Cool. So that is the bivvy bag. Okay then folks, then what we're going to do is move on to cooking systems. Alright, I'm going to show you what I use both when I'm out doing bushcraft and also wild camping. And also what you might get, or what you might see in your army surplus shops. Cool. Okay then folks, so this is the first setup, and this is what I would take if I was doing bushcraft. Alright, you might see this in your army surplus shops. Now this is the BCB Crusader stove, okay? Now, I don't know why people think that the British Army use these. BCB is a firm, it's a UK firm that makes this setup. I've never seen this out in service, this setup, okay? I've made some additions to it as well myself, because I do like using this for bushcraft. Alright, it's fairly cheap. I think it's about £50, okay, with the whole setup. Alright, so I'll show you. So this strap, okay, I've put on extra, right, just to hold it all together. This lid I bought off eBay, okay, just to make the boil time a bit quicker. Alright, then this is the stove, okay, but I use a Trangia, okay, a Trangia setup in this. You can use Dragon Fuel, also by BCB, okay, in there like you use the tablet, alright, but I find that doesn't really get a rolling boil, okay, so I prefer to use the good old Trangia system. Right, this slots in there, perfect, okay, really good bit of kit, alright. Then, moving on then, you get the 1 litre Osprey issued water bottle, okay, that comes with a set. Then you get the boiling part of it as well. Okay, so this is the boiling vessel, also comes with it. This holds about a good litre, okay. So this is basically designed so you can fill it up to half a litre, all right, and then you can fold up your boil in the bag meals, and you can put it in and heat them up that way, okay. And then then what I would do is use the water then to make your brew, all right, once it's hot. Okay, so the way that you do it then is, so you've got your Trangia lit, okay, you put this arm over, like so, fits in like that, you put your water in here, and you just simply set it on, like so, okay, alright, so, and then put the lid on there, nice and simple, okay, boiling your water, alright, so it's that sort of setup, okay, that's what it looks like, alright. Boiling your water, now I would wear gloves, okay, because these do get quite hot, alright, okay, always wear gloves with this, okay, lift off the lid, take off your stove, pour it into your brew, job done, okay. Now, it takes about a good 12 minutes for this to get a rolling boil, okay, if you have this full, like a litre, okay, so probably about, I think it's about 8 minutes, okay, to get a rolling boil if it's just a half litre, just to fill this up, okay, because these Crusader mugs hold half a litre, right, and that's a lot of tea or coffee, all right, okay, but they are, I mean, they're robust. This has been worn and used, okay, over time, okay, because I do like this setup. If you're into your stealth camping, all right, if that's even a thing, okay, this is good because it's quiet. There's no roaring gas, all right. There's a little blue flame that comes out, all right. But you do have the time issue, okay. If especially if you've been out on the hills, or you are in a military situation, you're coming off patrol, you're waiting like, I don't know, like 10 minutes for hot water is, for me, not good enough. So yeah, but that's the setup for this, okay. Ideal for bushcraft, all right. Quite manageable, okay, for what you get. You do get a plastic mug, by the way, sorry, I've decided a steel one. Same again, okay, it's just a plastic version of this, okay, with the setup, alright. But yeah, so that's the first stove little setup that you might see in a surplus shop, okay. Cool. Okay then folks, moving on to the next little stove that you might find in your surplus shop, alright, also done by BCB, alright, a UK firm. Right, and this is the ration heater, okay. So it's a simple stove, not much to go wrong with it, all right. You might have to buy the fuel separately, okay. So this is simple Fire Dragon fuel, all right. They come in cubes like so, and then basically what you do, you open the wrapper, you put it in the center part here, light it up, All right, and then you can put your metal mug, close it down a fraction, like so, on there like that. Okay, and that'll be cooking your, heating your water. All right. What you can do as well is this like little windshield, which I do recommend you use. Okay, so, and it's got out on the bottom there. All right, so that faces out, and all you simply do, open this up fully. Okay, and then literally place it on like so. All right, and then all you do is pop that on there like that. Okay, and that's a nice little windshield. Obviously, depending which way the wind's blowing, that's where you position it. All right, so your fire cube goes in there, obviously without the wrapper. Okay, you're lighting that, putting your cup on top. Okay, with your lid on. Okay, to increase boil time, like so. Job done. Dead simple. Okay, what I have found though, okay, even for half a litre, so half of this mug, all right, you probably will need to replace and put a second BCB fuel in, okay, to get it to a rolling boil, okay, if that's what you're trying to achieve. Okay, if you just want a hot brew, all right, without the rolling boil, okay, then one of these will suffice. Cool. That's a simple ration heater, and this is also designed as well, so for mess tins, okay, that will just sit on there as well, all right, but I don't use mess tins. Okay, cool. Okay then folks, the third and final stove that you can get on Amazon, alright, I'll leave a link below, okay, and this is every soldier or squaddie's favourite, alright, the good old Jetboil, okay, this is the Jetboil Flash, alright, and the good thing about this is, in the old style webbing, okay, you used to be able to fit one of these in one of your utility pouches, okay, no issues, alright, really good, robust bit of kit. I have used this for years and years and years, okay, really good, took it all over the world, okay, I can't rate it enough. Yes, it's expensive, I think it's knocking out about £120, okay, so it's absolutely not budget friendly, but yeah, this has never let me down. So taking it apart then, right, you've got your nice lid there, okay, if you notice on the lid, okay, it's got a little hole there, alright, and you can pour through that, okay, so when this is boiling, you can leave the lid on, okay, and use it as a pourer, alright, then taking it out to the main stove, alright, so that's the main burner, okay, with a gas connection on there, regulator valve as well, okay, and then here you've got a it's like a pretzel lighter, you light that up, okay, these can fail, alright, so I always carry a cigarette lighter with me, okay, alright, so because the last thing you want is the fatal dead man's click, okay, with no spark, alright, and it's throwing it down the rain. You got all your basher set up, you got your sleeping system out, okay, you all set up, you got your food ready, and there's no click, okay, there's no spark, alright, so always carry a cigarette lighter, alright, just as a backup, alright, cool. So that's that part. Now, in here, I have my gas can in a sock, alright, okay, in part of an old sock, they have a top tip, okay, because there's nothing worse without this sock, right, you place that in, right, you'll have the old good old what we call battle rattle, right, okay, I hate that, okay, so that's the gas can. Then in the bottom, you got your 3-prong tripod thing for your gas, okay, that simply goes on here, clicks on, nice and central, okay. I always keep the lid for the gas, okay, on there as well to stop any dirt getting in the valve. All right, make sure this is turned off, okay, because you don't want to blast the gas. Screw it on there. That's you good to go. Okay, then you'll see this part here. All right, this is also a measuring cup. All right, on here. Okay, and if you've got food that you know, like porridge or something, you can chuck it in there and use it as a bowl if you don't want to mess up the main pot. Okay, and it has got increments on there as well. Okay, all right, for measurements. That's the main pot. Okay, that's a litre in there. All right, so you can pretty much boil a litre of water. All right, again, this takes about 3 minutes to do a litre of water, rapid. all right, even less, okay, if you just fill it half and put your ration pack in there, like your wet meal, okay, you're boiling the bag, put it in there, whack the lid on, 3 minutes, it's boiled, 4 minutes, you're eating it, okay, that's how rapid it is, all right, so all you do then, okay, is, you see these grooves here, these link up with these grooves on the actual burner, on here, all we do, let them meet up, lock it in, done, all right, and that's not coming apart, that's nice and locked, water in, food in, lid on, turn it on, light it up, job done. Okay, dead simple. You know, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, depending on what the conditions you're in. If it's really cold, it might take a bit longer. Okay, but 3 to 4 minutes, you've got boiling water, all right, for your brew and also for your scran. All right, I really rate these, okay. And the good thing about this one is, right, this window here, okay, when it's done, that'll go bright orange all the way up. All right, so you know it's fully boiled. Okay, it's got like a heat measurer. All right, it will start glowing orange, more and more orange, okay, and when it reaches to the very top, it'll be boiling, okay, so you don't have to overspill and burn your hands, all right, nice safety feature that is, I really like that, okay, yeah, I've got it in MTP, okay, maybe a bit gimmicky, but hey, you know, it's, why not, yeah, cool, that's a Jetboil Flash, really good bit of kit, and that's what I use in real time, okay, I don't bother with ration heaters, with the other stuff. If I'm operational, if I need to get food on fast or boil some water fast, this is what I use, 100%. Right folks, okay, so now we're going to move on to knives, alright. You might find these in your surplus shops, okay, but they've lasted me all through my military career and also with my bushcraft as well. Okay, so let's get into it. Okay, the first one then, okay, is my Swiss Army knife. This is the soldier's knife, all right? It's a fixed blade, okay, and it has a few useful functions, all right? So it's got the main blade there, all right, and then we've got the saw blade, okay? You'll notice about the main blade, that's a locking blade, okay, and it's over 3 inches, all right? So technically that's illegal in the UK, all right? So just be mindful with your knives, okay, if they're over 3 inches and it's a locking blade, then it is illegal, okay, so just be mindful where you get them out and where you carry them, all right, cool. Okay, so I love this blade, okay, so you can see it's got a serrated front part, all right, and then a normal blade at the back, okay, and it's a nice big thumb. This is meant to be designed for one-handed opening, okay, so close it over, so basically you get it out and you can open it one-handed and it's locked in place, all right, good to go. All right, I like this part of the thumb as well, this like it's almost like it's like a really good gripped handle, okay, so you can really slice if you need to, all right, okay, and then lock it away. Locking it away is two-handed, I haven't mastered it yet with one hand, okay, but normally I just open it up like that anyway and we're good to go, all right. Putting it away like so. Okay, so what else is on it then? We saw earlier, okay, there's a saw blade. That's not locking, all right? Okay, so you've got to be aware of that, all right? If you're cutting timber or branches, okay, for firewood, all right, you've got to be careful of that, but it is super sharp, all right? Okay, and then also on here, you've got a screwdriver, typical Swiss Army standard, okay, screwdriver and bottle opener, all right? That is locking, okay? And then what else we got on here? Then we have on here, sorry, is a can opener, all right, useful for opening old rations if you've got them, all right, and also a very small flathead screwdriver on the front there as well. Moving over the other side then, we've got a Phillips screwdriver, and then on the other side of that, we have an awl, okay. Now that is what I use for a ferrocerium rod, okay, so I can strike it, okay, that's really useful, all right, cool. And that is my first pretty much penknife, which is a soldier's blade. Now that's been with me for 10 years, 15 years, okay, it's always been in my kit, all right, within my belt kit or similar, okay, but I now use it in the bushcraft world. Cool, Swiss Army knife soldier, I'll leave a link below. Moving on then to the second knife, okay, and this is moving on to the Moroneve, all right, this is a companion. This is about £15 on Amazon, all right, it is cheap, okay, and this has definitely been in my kit for a long time, all right, it's a stainless steel blade, okay, with a Scandi grind, All right, it's like a rubberized handle, so when it's wet, okay, it's still got a good grip. I love this. It fits so comfortable in my hand. It's brilliant. Okay, it's super sharp and it's easy to resharpen as well. Okay, all right, yeah, really good blade. Okay, it's not a full tang. All right, it's a quarter tang, so it comes to about here. All right, the blade itself. But yeah, this is great for starting out in bushcraft. I fully recommend this blade. All right, and it's got a nice plastic sheath. Okay, and this actually fits on my belt kit in the military. All right, within my rig. All right, my chest rig especially. Okay, I'll just clip that on the inside. Okay, and then it's ready to deploy. No dramas. All right, it's not a fighting knife. It's not a dagger. Okay, it's mainly for cutting back branches. Or sharpening tent pegs out of sticks is what I've used it for mostly. Okay, it's not a fighting knife or anything like that. Okay, it's purely for bushcrafty style tasks. Okay, but yeah, Mara and Eve Companion, great bit of kit. Okay then guys, moving on then to item number 8. Okay, so going on to the Gore-Tex jacket. These are great. Okay, they're a simple shell jacket. All right, with a zip down the front. Okay, open that out. Really good bit of kit. Okay, so it's Gore-Tex, it's just like the bivy bag. All right, robust zip at the front. Okay, the sizing label is at the back, just like any other bit of clothing. Okay, so I really suggest that you try these on. All right, if you go to your surplus shop. All right. So yeah, I mean there's so many different variants of these. Okay, you got them in DPM, the old style colour. You got them in MTP, this version. Okay, you got ones with pockets on up here. Okay, so depending on what you get in your shop, all right, definitely worth trying them on. Okay, so with this one then, there's no pockets apart from on the arms. All right, Velcro pockets there, nice and simple. Okay, on the sleeves. Okay. And there's vent pits. Okay, so if you do get warm, all right, that's a good idea. Okay, so on the arms, okay, on underarms there, okay, there's little holes here, okay, that you can just zip up or unzip, okay, to help you keep cool. All right, there's a rank slide if that's your thing. Okay, on the front as well. All right, that's what that's for. Okay, but yeah, really good jacket. Kept me dry, okay, but the idea with these is these go over whatever you wear, like your main jacket, okay, just as a waterproof outer. Alright, I've never been wet in these, okay, not even through sweat because it's Gore-Tex. It vents really well, especially with those underarm zippers, okay, but yeah, cool, Gore-Tex jacket, try them on, really can't stress that enough, alright, because they do come in all sorts of different shapes and sizes. Okay, so that's the jacket. And then to go with that, item number 9 then, okay, are the Gore-Tex trousers. Now these are awesome, all right. Again, try them on in the shop. Okay, this variant has a toggle system where you pull on it and you just cinch it down around your waist. Okay, no zips or anything like that to worry about. Okay, just a simple toggle system. Now the good thing about these is, okay, there's no pockets on them, all right, which is fine, but there's a top zip here, okay, that goes all the way down the leg, so you can just undo that, all right, and you can get into your trouser pocket. So these are over trousers, obviously, okay, so you can do that and you can get inside your own pocket, all right, without getting too wet. But the other really good function about these is that you can put these on without taking your boots off, all right, because they've got at the very bottom, okay, the bottom of the leg, they've got a Velcro part here, all right, and you can literally unzip it, the whole leg unzips, all right, so you can literally put them on over your trousers with your boots on, okay, all right, and then once they're on, zip them up, re-zip them, all the way back down, fasten over the Velcro, and you're good to go. Alright, and then if you need to get into your trouser pockets, just literally undo the top hit there, alright, and you're good to go. Alright, cool, really good bit of kit, okay, really well thought out, and the zip, if you can see, is waterproof, okay, they've got that lining, okay, like a seal, okay, all the way down the zips. Alright, really good bit of kit. But again, I can't stress enough, try them on. Again, so like I said, there's a white label in the back there, okay? Cool. That is your Gore-Tex jacket and trousers. Right then folks, let's talk about item number 10. Okay, and that is the good old shemag. Okay, I love these things. I've got that many. I've got them all in all sorts of colours. Over the years, I've just seemed to have collected them because they're so useful. And you know, you can fold them over to make them a scarf. Like if you're in a dusty environment. You know, and they're just like the warmth as well. Okay, when they're wrapped over, but you can put them around you. Okay, you can put them over your mouth. Okay, and you know, just with the goggles on or my glasses. Okay, it'll just keep any debris out. All right, if it's windy. Okay, so yeah, I mean, you can use them as char cloth as well. You can cut bits of like segments off. All right, and use it as char cloth. Okay, for emergency tinder. You can use it as a tourniquet. Wrap it around. Okay, put a stick in there. Right, you can, if you've got a major bleed. Right, you can use it as a tourniquet. You can use it as a dressing. Okay, to put direct pressure onto a bleeding wound as well. What else? You can use it as a sling in the medical world. Okay, right, you can put it around. You can use it as a sling, like where you can just literally put it around your neck. Okay, and sling your arm. All right, okay. You can use it, like I said before, remember my side pouch on my Bergen. Okay, you can wrap that around. Okay, make it a nicer surface. All right, more comfortable to sleep on. You can use it as a tinker pouch. Okay, you can make it tie these four corners up. Okay, put your materials, put whatever you're carrying in the middle. Okay, and then just wrap it around it and then tie it onto a stick. Yeah, you know, it's so versatile. You can even use it as like a water filter. Okay, so you can put some of this, like double it over, all right, and put it over your bottle. Okay, so you fill your water up from a source, put this over, and then pour the water through back into a clean container. All right, and that'll stop all the big debris anyway, at least going into your water, into your clean canteen. Okay, there's so many that you can use, and I just love them. I always take them out if I'm hiking, wild camping or bushcraft. You know, they're just so versatile. Even a sweat rag as well, especially in the summer. Okay, really ideal. Cool, that's your shemag. That's it for this video then, folks. I hope you'd enjoyed it and found it useful. I love passing on knowledge, okay, over my years of being in the military and also my own bushcraft journey. Cool. If you like it, then please leave a like and think about subscribing. That'd be awesome. Okay, but yeah, thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.